Okay, so this is almost the third playlist that I'm going to create. We're using almost the same method in solving the 15 marks exam question. We are focusing not only on understanding the question and improving our Python. We are only focusing on how much marks we are able to grab out without deeply understanding the question or even being a professional in the Python programming. Okay, so we focus on getting as much knowledge as we can get from the question. So most of this scenario question actually focus, or you will see it dealing with either 1D array and another 2D array, or two 1D arrays. So it is mostly swimming or moving around these areas. Okay, so now we have a two-dimensional array. It's called context. And one of the things that is very important for us is that we list down all our variable names. Okay, so after we know that this context is a 2D array, it will carry names and telephone, and it will carry must have a capacity of to store 100 contexts. That is totally fine. We don't really care too much about the capacity, but we will see later where this capacity play a role. At the moment, we need to know that the column one will have names, which is last name and first name. The second column will carry the telephone numbers. The second variable, which is we having here, which is the size of the context. So this size definitely should not exceed 100, okay? Because he said that the maximum context in this array should never exceed 100. Okay, so this program having a list, a menu that we need to show. So what I'm going to show to you here, the code for the menu, this can act as a template for other menu exam questions. So if you see another menu, you are able to use the same exact concept and it should work for you. And the second thing we always say after recognizing what variable names that we have, this is the first one, this is the second variable name, is that we'll try to mark the standard algorithms that we have here. So this is the validation, and we have a template code for validation algorithms. And if we look more here, we see that, okay, we have a sorting algorithm. So we need to use a sorting algorithm. We need to modify it so that it can work here. We see here output the whole array, delete the contents. Okay, so the first two things that we're going to do here is that we list all the variables. After that, we already marked the standard algorithm that we need to list and try to modify so that they fit the solution here. And then we need to focus a lot on writing comments all over our code. That will guarantee that we can get between 2 to 4 marks only just by putting a lot of comments. Okay, so let us go here. So at the moment, if we see a list, definitely there will be a need that you create a variable that store your choice from the menu of sorry, I apologize. I'm not talking about the list. I meant about the menu. If you see a menu, it means that there will be a few items in the menu, and you need to select one of those, and we need to create a variable that store your selection, and we call that a choice. So this context is a list to the array. I already explained about it. Current size also is a variable mentioned above. This is I detected that choice because I see that there is menu options. Okay, so we will store our menu options here, or our menu choice here. Okay, if we would like to validate something as an input, so we will I mean, we will take an input from the user, and then we need to use it for validation. So we are able to create this variable, and we use it later. And the most important thing here that we need a name variable and a phone variable, because these two, we're going to insert them inside the 2D array context. Okay, so we're listing all the variable names. If you miss one or two, that's totally fine. You are able to add later to it. There's no problem here. Okay, so the comments, I'm showing you here a list of comments that you are able to drive, comments that you need to put inside your code, that you are able to drive from the exam text itself. So in the exam requirement, he say display a menu of choices. So you are able to actually write in your above your code certain areas or certain places in your code, display a menu to the user, add, display, and delete, and so on. Validates the menu input. So at the validation code, you will write validate the user menu selection input, and so on. So this is how you are able to drive from the exam text comments that you are able to put in the code. So if you don't know what comments you need to write, so just take them from the exam requirement itself. So okay, now if we look here, so somehow we listed our context. So this is an empty array, empty 2D array of context that's going to carry the name and the phone. The current size is now 0, which we start with 0. The maximum amount of context should never exceed 100. So you put them as a constant here, okay, or you don't. That's totally up to you, okay. At the moment, we are targeting this exam requirement, which talk about display. I mean, I extracted the text from the exam question here so that I don't keep moving forward and backward between the exam text and the solution here I'm providing. So if you can see here, we talk about displaying a menu of choices. We need to enter a new contact details, display all the contact details, delete all the contact details, which means, so if you look here, this is the 3 requirements, and definitely this is something that we use to exit the menu itself, okay? And then we also need to validate the menu, which is also part of the requirement from the exam. So I mean, you can take this portion as if it is a template for a menu, and here we say while true, this is a loop that continue running unless you write break to stop it. So we here say that if you choose 1, so that will add a contact. If you choose 2, that displays the context, all the contacts. 3, you will delete all the contacts, and 0, you will exit. So to validate the choices, so we need to take an input from the user, and we tell him he need to give us a number between 0 and 3. So if the numbers is below 0 or bigger than 3, then we ask him to actually tell him this is invalid, and then we tell him again enter another number, and so on. So this is a validation algorithm that we already know and we have seen from previous playlists, and I already include that a link for the standard algorithm that like validation, minimum and funding, minimum and maximum, averaging, totaling, linear search, sorting. This is all the standard algorithms that we have. And if you check my other playlists for exam question like that, you will find a link for this standard algorithm. So we will, in the next video, I will explain about the other slides for solving this exam question in a simple way without going to too much details.